Tom, hi.
Hey,
How's
Hendrik.
it going, man?
Good, how are you? Yeah.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate your time.
Sorry, yeah, no, you're super welcome.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for asking this. This kind of, like, I feel kind of flattered that
No,
you want to do this with me.
I
That you
mean,
think I'm interesting enough.
You definitely are interesting enough, man. You're juggling so many things, and you've got a lot to talk about, I feel. So I think this is a cool first episode.
Yeah, thanks.
So recently you had a break of like uni after the exams.
Yep.
And you did a mindfulness retreat.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I did a meditation retreat because mindfulness is a way of meditating, but it was not mindfulness that I did. So it was meditation. Yeah, I don't know how the heck that happened. Seriously though, like I was so last semester was pretty hectic. Like there was a lot going on, and at one point I was like, "Fuck this." Can I swear on this?
Yeah,
Okay,
of course.
I was like, fuck this. Like I need to get out. Like I need to go because then I don't know. Like, yeah, like because it's been like 3 years since I like took a proper break from everything because obviously like every free moment that I had in the last year I try to go see Scarlett or like you know do things like that, and like that's awesome, like it's great, but it's like there was no point where I was able to like take the time to like get centered,
dedicated like me time.
Yeah, in a sense of like, okay, like what the fuck do I want? Like I'm gonna try to turn down the swearing.
That's all right.
And so at one point I was like, I'm just gonna go on a meditation retreat because we were supposed to go skiing with my mom, but then that didn't go through, whatever. And then I was supposed to go skiing with my friends, but then I was like, I don't know. And so I was like, I need to go meditate. I need to get centered. Didn't really think about it. Just booked it, went, and then when it arrived, I was like, what the heck am I doing? Like I could have gone skiing, or go see Scarlett, or like gone skiing, but then I don't know. Like it just turned out that way.
And it was, what was the type of meditation? Was it guided? Was it like breathing? Was it silent? How did the practice happen?
So the thing is, I arrived there and this freaking typical like Indian guy that has this like a really nice, how do you call that, like a ring beard,
like a, I don't know, a goatee, I'm not sure. I mean I can't grow one anyway,
but he looked legit as heck.
All right.
And
it was in France, right?
Yeah, it was in France.
Okay.
But he was an Englishman, Indian/Englishman, so he's like perfect English. And like I get into the car and like first things like we talk for 3 seconds and already like we're having a balls deep conversation. I was like, okay, well this is gonna be great.
Cool. That's a good start.
And so yeah, the meditation itself was Ram, was a guy who taught me, and he's like I don't know if he's like a recognized master, but he's definitely like a master. Like he's been doing this for 40 years, like had many teachers, been like Tibet, been to India, like this guy is so knowledgeable about
the guy's been there and done that.
Yeah, big time. And his voice when he speaks, like he says 3 words you're meditating without even knowing it. Like he has a voice that's so deep, it's ridiculous. But yeah, then so basically what he did is like he just was like, okay, so what do you want? Like, why are you here? I was like, well, I don't know. Like, I'm just trying to figure shit out. He was like, yeah, okay, I got you. And I told him I wanted to meditate because he also does movement and stuff. But I want to build this practice of I built this practice of meditating the past 6 months, but I don't looking back now, it wasn't really meditating. It was just like quieting my mind and thinking about what I want every day. So yeah, no. Absolutely mind-blowing experience because I unlocked a part of myself through like what he gave. Like,
that's super cool, man.
Yeah, it's like really learning to like serve your awareness and serve your thoughts in such a way that they serve you best and that you don't like get caught up in your thoughts, emotions, and like even physical pain that you can just eliminate, which is like so cool. Seriously. Like,
dope, man. Yeah. How did you then start 6 months ago? Like what triggered it to think like I'm gonna take 15 minutes of my day and just try to calm the waters in my mind?
Yeah, well I think Well, as you said, like I guess it's true. Like I do juggle a lot of things, and so making sure that I don't lose too much time worrying or like
getting caught up.
Getting
stuff,
caught up
like
in
grabbing on
stuff that exactly that doesn't serve me at all. I was just looking for ways to deal with that, and so at one point it was running, and another point was just making music. And now the big one is meditation, and also there's so much science out there that just states how freaking awesome meditation is, and I really feel the benefits. And I even like to say that it is in a sense a pretty spiritual practice, and I've always been like in search of, like, even when I was traveling, like I was in search of like, what is absolute truth? Like, how do you deal with absolute truth? Is there such a thing as absolute truth?
That's the topic of your TED Talk, right?
It was,
Of like your opening line. Or,
absolutely. And I was like, wow, nah. And I feel like meditation is definitely a way to being able to experience absolute truth. But I think that's a whole podcast on its
such
own.
a heavy word, man. Absolute truth.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to imagine with that.
Well, I guess absolute truth, I guess you could explain it by, like, let's look at that, like, what you call that?
The mug?
Yeah, exactly. Let's look at that mug. And I don't know, like, who do you want to call? Like, let's call somebody.
My dad.
Okay, we're calling your dad.
Right.
What's your dad's name?
Stan.
So, hey, I'm like, hey, Stan, like, I have this mug in front of me. And in front of it says "Stay open," and then that's all I explain. Like I give him my view on things, and then like I give the phone to you, and then you're like, "What's on front? What's in the front?"
Hey Dad, I see a hashtag Dare to Speak Up, and there's coffee in the mug.
And then Stan's like, "What the heck? Like, is this the same mug? Like, what are you guys talking about?"
Okay.
And then if we specify that it is the same mug, then like he knows it's the same mug, but otherwise, like, what reality have we created? Like it's all about the perception and the way that you like take in the information. Okay. So we're kind of bound to a singular colored perception just because of the fact of who we are, like because of your physical position in space, the positioning towards the reality that you're looking at. So an absolute truth is like, we agree that there's a mug, but we like, for it to be absolute, you would need to take into account like its position in the universe, like like what
everything,
what it's
made
of,
all the factors,
like every single possible different perception,
what it's made of,
exactly, and that all of that combined, that would be the absolute truth. Like, we humans, we have learned to, like, thanks to communication and like all that, we've learned to like create a relative truth that is very close to that absolute truth, and that helps us like manipulate it in the best way possible. But yeah, like I feel like meditation is that attainment of, because it all comes down to awareness,
to like, and then to find absolute truth of like your life, or to find absolute truth of what exact?
I think finding absolute truth is or the closest approximation of absolute truth is
it sounds kind of impossible.
It is by definition possible, but coming as close as possible gives you an incredible advantage, especially as humans, because we can like model the universe, like universes in our head of the universe. Like, we're basically the universe within the universe. Maybe I'm going a bit too deep.
7 minutes in, just straight deep dive.
Okay,
that's all good. It's all good.
We'll take it down, and you can edit this shit.
Yeah,
like, this guy's rambling. Just cut this out. So no, like, I think like the closest your perception of absolute truth is, the better you can make decisions, and the more, like, for example, if you're building a bridge, like, you use math and stuff to like model what's in your head to translate it to this absolute truth world.
Yeah.
And those are models that are pretty complex, and like they come close. But that allows us to actually build that bridge and to give us like the results we need that we had in our head but want in the real world.
It's kind of like being able to better see the bigger picture, like to relativize. I don't know if that's the right English word for it, but
sure,
kind of.
In a way. No. What I'm just saying is that like we want, like, everything we have around us is the result of somebody's idea at some point. Like, it all started in somebody's mind.
Yeah.
But for it to be like able to translate from the mind to the real
reality.
world, you need to understand that, like, there's an absolute truth. Like, there's laws of physics. There's, you know, like, there's things that you need to work with in order to achieve your goals and your, so like, the clearer your view, or like the closer you come. I think, like, the best example for this is just science. Like, if you look at the science progress that's happened over the years, the things that we've been able to do because we understand this reality better is, like, exponential.
Mind-blowing, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
So I think that's, like, if you want to achieve, I think just, like, whatever you want to achieve, you need to understand the reality of it first.
That makes a whole lot of sense, man.
Yeah. It's pretty simple, but you can make it sound complicated.
Yeah.
I guess I'm pretty good at that.
So then you incorporate meditation daily into your life?
Yeah.
It's like in the morning, in the evening, or
definitely in the morning. Like, I first thing I do when I wake up is just wake up and start meditating. Like, it's just like, have you read the book Atomic Habits?
No, never even heard of it.
It's pretty,
oh wait, I might have.
James
It rings
Clear.
a slight bell.
By James Clear. Well, basically, I just built this habit of the first thing I do when I wake up. It's super easy because it used to be running, and it's so nice because you wake up and you know what you're supposed to do. Like, you're not laying in bed like, oh fuck, what am I gonna do for them? Like, oh no, this is like, no, you're like, okay, let's go. They started.
And you do it lying down or sitting?
Sitting.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely sitting.
Oh, dope. Are there like other habits that if you read the book Atomic Habits, then are there like other habits that you feel like really, or routines that really, I don't know, help you bring more structure to the day and be more productive and get more shit done? Or
Yeah, 100%. So it's basically the habit stack in the morning that, like, I feel like the first hour of the day is probably the most important. Like, it determines your whole day.
It steers you in like the direction of how your day is gonna go, right?
So I
and
know
then it's up
that,
to
for
you
example,
how to build onto it. Yeah.
I know that, for example, if I wake up and first thing I do is spend 15 minutes on social media, I know my day is like gonna be. I mean, it can still be a good day, but chances of it being like this not very productive day.
Oh man, I totally relate to that.
Increases exponentially. Which is also why I'm really thinking of buying a normal alarm clock without not using my.
Man, I've thought of that 1,000 times and I've never even found one. Like, you can probably just find one on Amazon for like $7.
Yeah, not even.
Yeah.
But then they have like this horrible sound though. Like, I don't want to wake up with this. The fucking like.
I like waking up to a good tune, man. If you can wake up to a nice track, then it can really give a little extra nudge to your day.
I Wish by Stevie Wonder every morning.
That'd be cool.
That's what I do with my phone. But anyway, so yeah, meditate for 15 minutes. And I try to get up at 6 in the morning, and then I meditate for 15 minutes, and then I have like 1 hour and 45 minutes where I do like, I have this like one project in my life where I needed like my most important project right now. It's Husson, which is like a company that we're starting with a buddy. And then I spend 1 hour and 45 minutes just working on that. Like, I am.
Like, you put your cell phone away, you just.
It's just bump.
Zone out.
You like 1 hour 45 minutes, and then I try to go to the gym.
Nice.
Do like 45-minute workout, and then come shower, and then the rest starts. Because I feel like that's already like a whole day productivity wise.
Well, yeah.
So it's like it's a tiny habit. Like, you turn 3 hours into something like crazy productive just by, because there's like you're not gonna have meetings like at 6 o'clock in the morning. So it's just like, it's a pretty nice way. And 6 o'clock is pretty good because like if you go to bed around 11, like you still get pretty good sleep.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Right, so working out. Do you have like any eating habits? Do you?
Yeah, big time.
How do you check your health?
I'm super busy with that. One of the things I do is coffee's the bomb.
Coffee is fuel.
Yeah.
It's like the turbo button.
Yeah. But then I also like put MTC oil or MCT oil.
All right, cool.
In my coffee every morning.
That's dope. Where'd you get that from?
Dave Asprey. You know Dave Asprey?
I've got no. I don't know who that is, but I just finished listening to an audiobook by Aubrey Marcus.
Okay.
Who is the CEO of Onnit. I don't know if you've ever heard of that company. They've got one of the most legit supplements in the whole world.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's incredible.
Okay.
And yeah, man, the oil, I mean, the fat in your coffee and MTC oil. I haven't done MTC oil yet, but I often do like coconut oil in my coffee.
Yeah.
I drop
It's
sugar.
basically the same thing, huh?
Yeah.
Sugar, I don't.
I drop sugar
Yep.
like as much as I can. I eat pastries on Saturday morning. That's my only like.
Yeah, I do too. But they like when I'm at my dad's, but they make you feel. I mean, now they make me feel miserable. I don't know about you, but
oh, they make me feel happy, man.
They do. Oh, shit. You know, I just don't. I don't. Yeah, they mess with me.
There was another thing. Oh yeah, I don't know if you've a habit that I started incorporating. I think it must have been like mid-January. I've been doing it for like maybe a month now. Are you familiar with Wim Hof and who that is?
Yeah.
Yeah. I do like breathing cycles of his method in the morning. It takes like 15 minutes, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less. And so you basically do a cycle and then you empty your lungs and then you just keep your breath. And I timed it 2 days ago and I held my breath for 2 minutes and 33 seconds on an empty lungs. It's crazy, right? That? It's because you like over oxygenate your lungs or your body or your cells. I don't know exactly how it goes into work. And then you can just, I mean, the guy that developed it has crazy world records, right? Like,
I know.
He's ran a marathon in the Arctic Circle. He's went to base camp, or he climbed Mount Everest in his swim shorts. Like, the guy's nuts. And this weird breathing technique and it makes you feel good, man. It's kind of like a high that you have.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like thinking like, choke me, daddy.
It really does, dude. And I was telling this to a friend, and he said that he went to Vegas a couple months ago, and they offer you like pure oxygen there in clubs, and they get you high. And it's like kind of the same thing, but it's pure oxygen that gets you high and really energizes you.
Pure oxygen.
Yeah, whatever it is. But
these guys. Yeah, it's just oxygen.
Get high on O2, man.
Promise.
No, I feel like that really does also help like jumpstart the day. And like I've been taking cold showers. Really.
I hate that.
Consequently,
I don't do that.
Dude, I'm starting to like love to hate them, right?
Yeah, I mean, I know they're good, and I try to do them before exams and stuff because they really like.
Oh, it's a wake up slap in the face, man.
I hate it, man. Like it's so. Oh, all right, yeah, for sure.
What else did I want to talk about? Oh yeah, your public speaking. Like I mentioned that you did a TED talk, right? You started out with the absolute truth.
Yeah.
And then you performed with your brother.
Yeah.
Who's a good friend of mine. And how did the opportunity arise for you to talk at TED? And how did you prepare? For me, I would piss myself, man. Public speaking, like this is all right. Like with the power of editing, I can make everything look good. But public speaking in front of a big audience, I would shit myself.
Yeah. Well, the public speaking part, I think I worked for an NGO called UpWithPeople, and I did admissions there.
Yeah.
And so I had to speak in front of so many people. And the thing is, in the beginning, I just played with
What age were you back then?
18, 19.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah, it was a really cool time.
That's a good experience to learn at that age.
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
It really is.
It's great because I think if there's one skill anybody should really learn is not per se public speaking, but like selling. And I think public speaking is a part of selling. Yeah, that's where I conquered that fear completely. But the funny thing was with TED that I thought we were told that we weren't supposed to speak at all, and we were just gonna like do our songs and that was it.
Okay.
And then we arrived the day itself, and they're like, "So, like, how are you gonna introduce your topic?" I was like, "You motherfuckers,
Bruh.
you motherfuckers."
Communication at TED.
I was like, no, like it's not. Irony. It wasn't. I mean, I guess it wasn't their fault. And so I basically improvised that thing. we rehearsed like one time in the morning. So I was trying to say these things, and luckily we're like it was an old friend there that was like kind of coaching me as well. And he was like, yeah, it's good. But I think about this like stuff all the time. And Abre itself, like it was born from this idea of, like of fighting this absolute truth. Like I think this has been like a recurring thing throughout my life of like finding like, okay, like absolute versus relative. How do we connect? Like I think it comes like, you have these things from your past that kind of push you. And I feel like living in a dual world where, for example, your parents have very different view and are separated and like there's no communication, like all of a sudden there's two realities and you're like thinking like, okay, like who lies? Like, but then in the end, nobody's lying, like just with the mug, we weren't lying,
it's just
but
a
we
different
were just,
version of the truth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just so like those realizations, like they drove, I guess they still pretty much do. Like they drive a lot of what I do. So yeah, I just talked about that in the way that I felt was right.
And then how did you get the chance to talk at TED?
Yeah, that was luck, man.
Sometimes you just need a.
That was luck.
Good luck.
Well, luck, and also I guess like they knew. So the guys that were organizing were guys that I traveled with, in UpWithPeople as well.
Oh yeah.
And then we had a New Year's party there together, and then I don't know, I was playing my music, and of course, like I never can keep things just simple and be like, yeah, it's the music I make. I like explained the whole philosophy behind it. I was like, this is what we're trying, like this is why we do it, because music is like in a way, I feel like music is it transcends. Like it's a reality in itself that's being created, and it's by itself an absolute truth. Anyway,
you can connect with a song by an artist that's been dead for like 50 years, and it can like resonate completely with you.
Exactly, and it can help you make sense of the world.
It definitely can.
And so that's why I was like, well, yeah, that's why I make music as well. To like if I feel like shit, and there's like this song that comes out, like it's like therapy, like you can just listen to it over and over until the feeling's gone, or like it's changed, and I'm like, okay, yeah, cool, well maybe we can have you at TED. I was like, yeah, heck awesome. Yeah, without really knowing what would
just say yes first, and then
that's
just
what I do
learn,
all the time.
and then just learn how to do it afterwards.
Absolutely. Whenever an opportunity arises, just jump on it, like take it with your both hands, and you'll figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you said yes, so you're forced to, right?
Yeah. No, that was a fun experience. Well, yeah, it was a fun experience. I imagined it to be a little bit different, but that's like I think that's always in your mind. You're always thinking of like, oh, this could have been better, and this could have been better.
Because I'm thinking of, are you familiar with Toastmasters?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking of, I went there like I think maybe 2 years ago to check it out, like a free session. But I'm thinking of joining now that I'm back based in Belgium, and then just go to Toastmasters and start public speaking.
I think
practice there.
I think the key for public speaking is, I think what helped me was, in the beginning I would just do something so dumb that I couldn't make myself look ridiculous anymore because I chose to do it in the beginning. Like for example, when I used to talk to like rooms of like 30-40 people that were like wanting to join UpWithPeople, and I had to explain what we do and why we do what we do. And I just started doing like handstands, but I'm like the least athletic handstand person ever, and like it looked ridiculous, and everybody's like, "What what's this guy doing?"
What does a handstand have to do with UpWithPeople?
Nothing at all. And I was like, "Hey guys, I'm just gonna like give me a second. I'm gonna do a handstand in front of you." And I would like, I don't know, like fall, like not break anything, but like, and that would set like a tone of like, okay, well this guy's just like speaking, and then I started speaking, and that was one thing. Just I don't know if it's a good way, but that's how I did it. And then just do it like a million times.
Practice,
speak to a million. Practice. And then you learn to tweak. I guess don't be afraid to like make a fool of yourself. Practice and then prepare, I guess, as well. Like,
preparation is a big one.
Yeah, know what you're gonna say, or like have an idea of what you're gonna say. Exactly. Because now the shittiest speeches I give is the one where I'm like, I'll wing it. I mean, yeah, there's like a base, like you like I've fallen back on a base, but it's not like, you know, it's not what I could do.
Yeah, because if you look at the best talks, these TED Talks that get like millions of views, these people know to the second when and what they're gonna say, right? And it's all planned out, and you only have a handful of people that can really just improvise and wing it and deliver something really interesting and great, right?
I think you can wing it when you know so well what you're going to be talking about.
Yeah, if you're like a real expert and you really know your area, what you're talking about. Exactly. To come back on the Up With People, so if I'm not mistaken, you finished high school, you did a gap year where you were traveling and making music, and then the next year they asked, the company that you did that with asked you, no, that was during that same year, they asked you to work for them, right? How, like that's a dope way to take on a gap year, man.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the plan. Like I was supposed to do this for 6 months and then, you know, start real life with like real responsibilities and stuff. But yeah, no, like that was the goal. Like again, I think if you get opportunities like that, like, you know, like you have these cheesy lines saying like people like never regret what they did do, but more what they didn't do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just jumped on that. I was like being 18 and kind of being paid. It wasn't a lot, but it was still like
your expenses were covered.
All my expenses were covered, and I was like getting some money from it. So it was a sweet deal. Like you don't let me complain. But that was I think I learned so much during that time, like so much.
That was a question that I was going to ask you, man. What do you think is like the biggest lesson, or maybe a couple that you think that you took out of the whole traveling abroad at 18 and working for an abroad experience company? Like,
I think I wrote down 27 life lessons that I learned from that. If I want, I can like
send them. That'd be cool. Yeah, definitely.
And
I can maybe include them in like, I don't know, description of how this
description below. I think the biggest one, and came a bit as a surprise, is that I think you need to learn to love yourself unconditionally.
Oof.
But you can learn, like, to really learn that, and to like really, like, you know, it comes down to, for example, you have this drunk night where you're this stupid person, and instead of like the next day waking up and be like, oh, you motherfucker. Okay, you can do that for a second and be like, oh, what the fuck did you do?
Texted 27 people again. God damn.
Like, you called your ex again. Like, instead of like hating yourself for that and like beating yourself up and like, you know, like being like, what am, like, you stupid ass, dumb ass dude, you just see yourself in that moment and like just give yourself a big hug and are like, okay, well, that's a part of who you are too. Like, it's maybe not the nicest part, but like still have that unconditional love and not never hate yourself. And I think that's in a way what unconditional love maybe not means, but what it entails is that you never allow yourself to hate yourself.
That also sounds like a lesson or like a practice that doesn't stop at one point, that you have to keep.
You do it all the time.
The whole run that you have.
And you make mistakes, which I'm pretty good at. I'm pretty good at making mistakes.
I'm an expert on that as well.
So, and then you just like, I don't know, like it's the attitude, like it's how you keep going. Like
how you look at yourself in the mirror, right?
Yeah, 100%, and how you look, but also how you feel when you look at yourself in the mirror. Because you can rationalize this, but this is like also like, you know, like a feeling. Like, I don't know, like give yourself a kiss in the mirror or something. Yeah. I don't know. Don't like make sure nobody sees it. Yeah, you know, like shit like that. Well, you don't have to do it all the time. Make sure nobody sees it, or you can. It doesn't matter, but no, that's really important because you only have you for the rest of your life. Like that's one.
And that's like, I mean, so do you, but I listen to a lot of podcasts and I listen to a lot of interesting people that I find interesting anyway. And two recurring things is a lot of them say like meditation or mindfulness practices are really something that they would recommend to everyone, and they're super happy that they discovered. And the other one is exactly what you just said, is like loving yourself and just, you know, appreciate who you are and understanding that you fuck up and
yeah.
And
but I think it goes
easy,
beyond
right?
that, in the sense of like, if you make it unconditional, yeah, it's just like a click, but it's something you have to do. Like it's something that you can talk about, but it doesn't mean anything, you know?
Yeah, it's something that you have to keep in mind the whole time.
Yeah, and experience. Like you need to live it. Anyway, so that was a big one. That was one of the first ones where I was like, shoot. And then another is just like, you know how like you have this absolute truth, and then you have like a relative truth, but the relative truth in the end is the only one that's gonna really matter to you. So it's like how good you can approximate this absolute truth, and like that gives a direction towards like how you should steer this. But then this relative truth, like you have so much power over this thing. I think like the two variables that really
you choose how you perceive things.
Yeah, exactly. So like I really believe like attitude and perception create your reality. So you can, like, if you have the attitude of like waking up with like, fuck, life is awesome every morning, or you wake up with like, fuck, life sucks, like whatever you believe, you're right.
And you
like,
can exactly, and you can very easily switch it. It's just really fucking hard to do.
You think?
I think so, yeah. I mean, changing an attitude, it's something I realize that is possible, and I talk about it here, but it's difficult to do, and it takes, again, just practice to be able to make the mental switch.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I don't know. I think there's ways to make it easy. I think first noticing them, like noticing that you're having an attitude. And then the way you can do that is like by, you know, listening to podcasts, talking to mentors, like choosing your friends right. Like 3 strikes, man. Yeah,
very
no,
important.
like
very, very important.
Those are like the first ways to notice your attitudes towards life. Like if you hear your friends say every day like I'm worthless, like, okay, like
it'll kind of seep into you.
Yeah,
as
exactly.
well, right?
Like they, you know what they say, right? They're like, you're the sum of the 5 people you spend most time.
I was thinking about it when you said
it. That's super true. So
it is.
That has a big influence on your attitude. But if you know that attitude is like something so fundamental to your reality, like that already gives you a lot of freedom of like, okay, well, these are concrete things that I can go change to have a more fulfilling life, or whatever life you want to live.
Yeah. I mean, you're clearly a well self-educated guy, right? And you talk about podcasts. Like, what guys do you listen to? What kind of online mentors do you follow? Like, what books what kind of books do you read? Like, how do you self-educate?
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of this company called Mind Valley. Like my brother probably talks about it all the time.
He's trying to suck me in.
He's trying to suck you. Guy, my brother, is like, oh, you're there again with your fucking Mind Valley. Like, just shut up. Like, I don't care about it. Because
every time I see him, he starts about it. He says something about it.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to tell him, because he was hating on me before it. But like for my mom's birthday, I got us like this Mind Valley mentoring subscription, which is one of the services they provide, where you have like mentors coming on, like I think every 2 weeks, and they like do interviews for an hour.
Is it also with like real life seminars? Because I heard your mom went to a seminar where Tony Robbins was talking.
Yeah, no, but that was not Mind Valley. Okay. But yeah, they do real life stuff. They do really cool stuff.
Sick.
And I wanted to go there, but it's for now still a little bit too expensive. I've got other priorities to tend to first. But yeah, they're like, I love what they do. That's a lot of my mentoring, my insights and my thinking, and like trying to, you know, put things into perspective.
And what kind of talks or like what content is on Mind Valley that
they're very broad. Like they, like the founder is Vishen Lakhiani, who's a super inspiring guy. My Vishen, as my brother says, like, oh, it's so funny. Yeah, so they do everything. Like his goal is to, like, he believes in values like wisdom and like all those things that are not taught in modern day society schooling and like Western ways of thinking, that are actually fundamental to living a fulfilled and happy life, which I truly believe as well. And that's basically everything he teaches. So, for example, last week or something, there was something about like they had an expert on, like, you know how the biggest problem right now that our society faces, or one of the biggest problems, is loneliness. Like there's suicide rates that go up, like statistically you're
paired
more
with
likely,
like depression, right? Yeah, okay.
like statistically you're like more likely to kill yourself than to be killed by violence from other people.
Whoa, that's a crazy statistic.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, that is fucked up.
And so those are things, for example, where they bring on like an expert that explains like, hey, like this is what you can do, like, you know, find a tribe and like do stuff like this, and like, you know, anyway, they give you like strategies and explanations on how to like work with that and how to like be aware of that.
Nice.
But they also do like, you know, like high level, how should I invest, and like how should I, you know, play the market. But then they
super broad, exactly.
Yeah, but they don't go deep. They just have like these pretty fundamental and pretty important first principles, and then they like let you run off with it.
Okay.
So yeah, no, really like that. And then there's of course like just some inspiring dudes like Tom Bilyeu. I don't know if you know him. Like he's this.
No, it doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah, no, he's really. I think he's inspiring. He's like the show Impact Theory. I'm sure you saw that.
I know. Yeah, it's a YouTube channel, right?
Yeah. So he has that, which is really cool. Like he has a lot of cool people. Simon Sinek is a big influence for sure. Like he's he's cool.
Yeah, when I don't know, this was maybe 3 weeks ago, I was thinking about I should do that circle, like the why, the how, the what, for my podcast, and it really it brings kind of like a mental structure, like visibility of like what you want to do. Yeah, I haven't read his book yet, but
the book isn't that great. Sorry, Simon, if you're ever listening to this, but yeah, the book really is like, I think the TED Talk sums it up really good.
All right.
But then the book is like, I don't know. I think he was just trying to squeeze money out of it. Anyway. I don't know.
Props to him. I mean,
yeah, no, absolutely great. And he has great books. Like, just to like make up for this, like his book Leaders Eat Last. That's a really interesting book, because it talks about like the bioscience behind leadership, like how dopamine and endorphins and stuff like that, like how we're basically wired to respond to certain kinds of leadership, and
that sounds really interesting.
It was yeah, super great.
Nice.
So yeah, Simon Sinek, Tom Bilyeu, and then I just try to be open. Like I just try to always have a learner's mindset, and like you know, like I think you can learn from anybody at any point.
You can learn something from anyone.
Yeah, right? And at any time, you just have to open yourself up to it. So like, even if it's like something that I've heard like for a million times, I always try to like listen with this mindset of like, I'm gonna just throw out everything I know and listen to this perception of this person and try to like take out as much as I can.
That's dope. Are you reading or listening to anything at the moment?
Yeah, so I'm almost through Atomic Habits. I'm always on the Mind Valley podcast. I'm always on that Mind Valley mentoring. I'm actually doing something really cool by John and Missy Butcher, who have designed this thing called the Life Book, which is where you kind of have like 12, you have 12 categories in your life, and then you try to bring fundamental awareness to all of them. Like, for example, health and fitness, financial life, career, social life, like, and then you just define very clearly, like, what do I believe about this category? Where would I want to be with this category? What's my purpose for this category? And what's my strategy to achieve my vision? It's a cool process, and I think like it's a work in progress. Like I think you have to do this. Like I do this every Sunday morning now. Like that's how I do my Sunday morning.
Kind of evaluate the 12
I just,
areas.
Write down the vision, like work on it a little bit until it like, because it's really nice to bring awareness to things like that.
That's
like
cool,
I think
man.
It all starts with noticing and being aware.
Awareness.
Yeah, absolutely. Awareness is key in everything. That's why meditation is so epic as well. but yeah, if you know what you believe and where you want to go, it gives you like, you know, a lot of maneuvering power.
Yeah,
in a sense.
it gives you kind of like an outline of where the road is and like where you have to turn, where you have to watch out for, right?
And then you can see whether you're doing
Yeah.
well. And,
I coincidentally, it's kind of the same thing. There was this, I don't know if you know the YouTube channel. If you want some coffee, we can.
No, it's all right. Let's keep going.
YouTube channel Valuetainment. It's this guy that gives a lot of good financial advice and insights, but also kind of what do you call, like self-help stuff. So it was like 6 areas what you are going to work on in 2019, and it's also like you set 3 goals and you set 3 habits that you want to have in that category, and then that's how you push forward and give direction to your new year. Yeah, which is strangely similar to that.
No, but I think like like there's a million ways to, like, I think that's why there's like a million self-help shit. But in the end, it comes down to like a couple of things that always come back. Yeah. That's just like being aware of your situation and then like figuring out ways how to act upon the closest perception of that reality. It's pretty straightforward actually. Yeah,
I like self-awareness. I don't know if you probably know like Gary Vaynerchuk. Yeah. He preaches that like as loud and as clear as he can.
Yeah, this guy swears a lot.
Yeah. That's funny. And then I don't know. For me, I listen and read a lot of Tim Ferriss.
Tim Ferriss is. Yeah, I read his 4-Hour Work Week.
Yeah. I read that book. I gave it to my dad, and I think like within a week or 2, he was like, "All right, I'm gonna start to like make plans to quit my job and like start doing something with my hobby." So it really, that's a book that probably has impacted thousands of people. And then Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
big fan of Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I think he's fun. He's good. He's good at making podcasts.
Oh, he's an OG. I think he's got like a top 3 podcasts in the whole world. Yeah, and he does it live, no cuts, no nothing. He's a great conversationalist as well.
Yeah. With any guest, like and some people that he talks to are not easy to talk to.
No, it takes some serious skill to navigate a conversation like that.
Yeah, but I think like one of the things about Joe Rogan as well, like you see his attitude of like being so open and like he has this learner attitude as well.
Still, yeah.
I think that's such a valuable thing to have. Like, if you come into any room like being like, I'm the guy who knows it all, like, you lose so much from the get go. Like, you know, okay, your ego is boosting. You're like, oh, I'm the guy, I'm the man. But you, like, all the potential knowledge that people are just gonna, or that they're showing you, but that you're not even taking. Like, it's it's bullshit. Yeah, he's really good at that.
He's super great. What else do I have written down? Oh yeah, so I just found out that you are also working on a second company. Yeah. But could we talk first about the first one, which I found really, really interesting when I was looking at the website yesterday. Yeah. What's the goal and the purpose of, what's the why of Perspective?
So the why of Perspective, like, do you want the story why, or do you want the mission statement why?
Oh, both, I guess.
Okay. Well, I guess they kind of come down to the same thing. So as you know, I traveled for 2 years. And the reason I traveled is because I was like, you're 18. How the fuck are you supposed to know what you're going to do with the rest of your life? Like, like you lived in, like, especially, you know, us white privileged fucking white guys. Like we grew up in this bubble where anything is possible. Like, you're
so unique, you're so special, you're so great at everything.
You're destined to do great things. But then like when it comes to choosing, like, okay, I'm destined to do great things, but like, what am I supposed to do? Like, what does that actually mean? And so I was like, I need to go. I wanna figure stuff out. Yeah. And I like 1 year into traveling, like I Skyped one of my friends. And so the first reaction of a lot of people when I said that I wanted to go travel was like, oh man, you're fucked. Like, you're never going to come back and study. Like, you're going to be a hippie living
That's so recognizable.
Palm tree, yeah. Like, dude, your life is over.
Yeah.
I was like, sure.
You're
like,
never gonna do anything
see.
serious ever again. Yeah.
And so 1 year later, I'm Skyping one of my friends, and I'm like, so yeah, like how do you like your studies? Like I was, like explaining all my cool endeavors and all that. So like, yeah, how you like your studies? And I was like, I don't know, man. Like I'm not sure if I made the right call. Like this guy's spent like a year studying already, and like he spent a lot of time really working on it. I was like, damn, that shit's insane. Like that's crazy. Like spending an entire year of your life doing something you don't necessarily like, just because you think that that's the right thing to do, or like that's how shit is done. I was like, this guy's like, he's insane.
Makes no sense.
Yeah, but like everybody was saying that I was insane, but I was like, what the fuck? Like, you guys are insane. And so yeah, after a year, I came back home and met Quentin. Like we played in a band together.
Does the band still live and breathe?
No, it's dead.
Okay.
It's super dead.
Oh, rest in peace.
Yeah, fuck. I mean, it's kind of dead. No, anyway, that's a different story. But then we were like sitting one night in my like after a concert, sitting in my crappy cult. I don't know how you say that.
Like student flat studio.
Yeah, that.
Right.
And we were talking about this, and like I actually started like this. I wanted to start this app called Teamwork, where you were like kind of like what do you call it, like TaskRabbit-ish kind of stuff is today.
It rings a bell.
So I was working on that business plan. I got like a couple of people together to work on it. Like it was going, but it wasn't going like I wanted it to go. And then Quentin and I were like, okay, well, let's start something together. But it was just a team, I think, that I couldn't get together.
Sometimes you need another person for a catalyst, right? So
you can't like I don't think you can start something without the right person.
Exactly, man.
Like you need that's a first thing. Like you need a right person, like a complementary, like
a partner in crime, man.
Yeah.
Just someone that feels the same, like that feels the same way and direction that you want to go with the project, and that can like exponentially boost it and help it.
Yeah, absolutely. You need that. I don't think you can like. There's very few people that succeed on their own, and it makes so much sense. Like you need that anyway. And so I was talking about my frustrations, and then we were like kind of seeing that we agreed that one, the education industry is so ripe for disruption. Like we're doing things like that aren't very different from 500 years ago. Like pushing curricula onto people, like this is all the knowledge that you need, while you can just like grab your phone,
a one-fit-all format that
they just like push this on you, while all the knowledge that you want, like we have like you can look up anything.
That's true. For some careers you do need
of course, like like you can't have doctors just being like, oh, let me look this up. Like,
let's check this on School of YouTube.
Your heart's fucked. Okay, we're gonna don't worry.
There must be a tutorial on that.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. No, of course no, but like a lot still. Like a lot of careers are very disruptable. And so we were like, okay, like how are we going to do this? How like there's so much potential being wasted of kids that one don't really know what they want and don't get the chance to figure it out or like fiddle with it. And two, like they just don't work in the system. Like the system just destroys them. So basically, perspective, we wanted to solve those two things of like giving people the chance to like figure out like, is this maybe something I like? Is this something maybe I like? And to do it at their own pace, in a sense of like really like a pull method instead of the push method that university and higher education has today. So yeah, that's when we started to think like, how can we do that? And then we just built this platform called Perspective, where we have companies launch projects that we think are interesting enough to work on, and then we cut them up in milestones, so little parts. For example, let's take an example of like design. There's a company that wants to redo their whole design, so they're like launching a design track on our platform, and the first milestone is create a mood board. And then you can have like...
What exactly is a mood board?
So a mood board is kind of like, the look and feel that you want the design to have.
Like warmth, so oranges and
exactly.
Okay,
so like for example, right. Exactly, you get it. If you don't know what it is, like look it up. So yeah, and then first milestone is that it's really easy to make a mood board. Like everybody can do it. And so for example, you have a bioengineer that's like, oh well, maybe I can try design. Maybe it's something for me. Okay. And then he's like sees mood board, and then he's like you. He's like he doesn't know what a mood board is, which is totally fine. And then we have like this. We provide the learning resources about it. Like we have like, there's so much YouTube links and we just centralize it all. We're like, okay, like this is a mood board. This is how you make it. These are great tools for mood boards.
Okay, cool.
Mood boarding. And then you have like 30 people that just send in their solutions. And then, like the company can choose the one that he likes most. They get the student that wins gets remunerated, gets money. Or any other prize, and then the others get like the review of the company, which is I think like the only judge in my opinion, or like in my world, is the market.
Whoa, sorry.
Don't worry. So yeah.
I just thought of something.
You thought of something?
Yeah. This. Just to have it in the frame.
Oh, okay. Climb on suit. All right. So yeah, that was perspective. That was not short. It
doesn't matter, but it is kind of like a contest. Contest format, right?
Yeah.
And is it only targeted to students? Because I also saw on the website that it's open to freelancers and other.
Well, yeah, like for the launch, we're targeting on students because they have the most time in theory.
And also possibly the cheapest for companies to...
Well, cheapest for companies in a sense as well. And like you're going to school to build your future. So like having, for example, a rating from Google and Amazon and I don't know, whatever companies like saying like, look, I did this project for them and they rated me like 4.5 out of 5. Like,
do all participants get like a rating from the... Oh, okay, that's cool. Cool.
So yeah, like the rating is... It's like capturing and quantifying of your experience because like what you have now at uni, I think it's fucking stupid, is that you either get lucky with your questions and they're like, oh yeah, great, you know your shit.
Yeah, you studied chapter 7 really well.
Yeah, and then like...
Well, you didn't.
Yeah, I mean it's still good. Like it's still good up to a certain degree, but it doesn't show what you can do. And I feel like even when you graduate from uni, like what can you do?
Yeah.
Like, you know a bunch of stuff, but then you still have to go out there and like
it misses kind of like the practice aspect, right? Like, especially here in Belgium, I feel, well, for what I've seen, a lot of courses are really, really well here in Belgium in theory. Like the theory that they give you, the quality of the information is great, but you don't get to really like in abundance practice it, right? To really like hone skills and figure out, I like doing this, or no, I don't like working into a laboratory, but I like this aspect of it more, and this is how I can apply stuff. So it's cool, and it's geared to like making apps, right?
It's open to anything, but the app is as an example that we just used on the website.
Okay.
Just like explain.
That's cool. And then the second project, which I haven't heard anything on about yet. What's that about?
So it's called Humain because it has AI. It's a really cool logo. I don't know. Like maybe I can send it. You can show it. I don't know. So basically, Humain, the idea is, I think we're on the brink as a society of like this kink and exponentiality, especially with artificial intelligence.
Oh yeah.
And I think like I want to be part of that. I want to be part in designing.
Be on the good side of it, because it's gonna disrupt. Also in like poor ways, it's gonna
everything. Like, we don't even understand. Like like I like to use the analogy of at one point as human beings, we've had this mutation that has allowed our thumbs to shift like this, like they can go upwards, and now we can like grab things really easily. And fucking 500 years later, we're building cities, you know, like, and it changes who we are as humans fundamentally, like the way we interact,
how
the way
society works.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything.
How we are as human beings, what it means to be human has changed completely from, you know, hunter-gatherer to profoundly from our identity. Like, we're a society now.
Yeah.
And I feel like AI is that next thumb shift. Like, it's that next paradigm shift that is really going to change how we operate as human beings and what it means to be human. And so from that idea, we started Humain, that company, where we fundamentally believe that AI should be made to like benefit society and what it means to be human. Like, what humans are really great at is critical thinking, like creativity, building connections with people. But to like spend 8 hours a day inputting shit in Excel, like that's not what it means to be human, you know? Like, and so I feel like AI should be used not as like, oh no, like it's the end of us, but as the empowerment of what we shine in, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
damn.
So that's that idea. That's how we're building that company, in the sense of like, okay, like how can we work with that? And so Humain, basically we're going to be doing AI architecture, which means that we're going to implement and design from start to finish AI strategies, beginning with designing them and like aligning them with strategy of the company. And they're like, okay, like basically what architects do, they're like, the company comes to us like, this is our dream house. And we're like, are you sure? Because we could be doing this. Because, you know, like the problem is we think linearly a lot, but you should be thinking exponentially. So otherwise you have this whole dead weight loss here. Can you see like the graphs that I'm showing? This dead weight loss of not
missed opportunity.
Yeah,
right?
missed opportunity. And like innovation is the norm now. Like you can't like ask Nokia, like, you know, like, okay, well now they're bought by Microsoft and like they're doing well again, but like they didn't innovate and then they went out of business. That's like, it's disrupt or be disrupted.
And it's students coding AI for companies that have X as goal. Is that
no
it?
This is really a company that Quentin and I are building, and like it doesn't have anything to do with students. Like this is our this is our real job. Like this is what we're doing, like we're gonna do. It's gonna be a really professional, really cool AI architect bureau, if you want.
Yeah, dude, that sounds, I mean, I've never heard those two words together, and it sounds like not scary, but it sounds disruptive. It sounds really shifting.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think like the future doesn't invent itself. Like you have to bring intentionality to it. And I want an epic future. So if you want an epic future, you gotta
work on
design it, and you gotta work on it, and you gotta think about it, and you gotta be intentional with it.
That's very right, man. So you juggle being president of AFD, Perspective, Humain, your studies.
No, my studies. I'm dropping the ball from time to time.
And you're a dad as well, man.
Yeah.
That's some. I mean, how you've managed that with only 24 hours in a day is mind-boggling for me.
Well, the truth is, it's not as constant as it sounds. Like especially the dad part is, like I'm obviously not very present for my daughter at the moment. Like she lives about 5,000 miles away. And it's not with a Skype call that you take up the role of a father. That's a constant struggle for sure. Trying to like place that, trying to deal with that. I think maybe the projects in itself are an escape, maybe of not. I don't know. Like I'm figuring that out. That takes a lot of mental energy to think about that and like, to work with that. Of course, like I would want it to be different, but I think I'm in the process of it. It takes a certain kind of like real raw realness with who you fundamentally are. Like if you want to know who you are, like have a kid with somebody 5,000 miles away that has completely different values than you have. Yeah. The great thing is everybody is ready with an opinion around you. so it forces you, and they're very conflicting. Like they're very different. Like everybody has this idea.
I mean, but you're living it, right?
Yeah, and so, but that's a great way to get to know yourself. Like, you're like, what do you stand for?
Yeah, the mirror must be like right there.
Yeah, but it's not always easy to even admit it to yourself, because whatever way, well, it depends again on attitude. But you could look at it whatever way you go, you lose in a sense.
Yeah.
Like this is not necessarily like by design a winning situation. But yeah, it's I think I'm just taking this one step at a time. I have definitely a goal of getting to the US at one point, but I'd like it to be on my own terms.
Yeah.
But again, like now trying to finish my studies, and again after that we'll see what life brings, because if there's one thing I learned is you can never know what happens. And shit can happen that can like make you go like sharp left, and but yeah, no, like the juggling, it's not as constant. Like I'm very lucky to have Scarlett's mom and the family there that really takes great care of her. So like I have no worries whatsoever that she's like being cared for. And like that's a big like help. But then like the other stuff, like for example, perspective now, we're kind of taking like a little bit of throttle back because like we're trying to work humane out for say it's like you kind of have to prioritize like and the great thing with AFDs was that there's an incredible team behind there.
What exactly is AFD? It's, if I've understood it right, it's kind of a way for students also to get experiences abroad, right?
Yep, that's that. Yeah, I mean, the idea of AFD is to allow students to have social impact.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Through social entrepreneurship. So like we kind of everything we do revolves around social entrepreneurship. And so we have like 3 pillars where we have projects. So we have students. I think right now we have like around 50 project students working on 8 or 7 projects around the world. Wow. And so they work with the partners, like are in contact with the partners locally during 10 months. And then in the summer, they go implement their solutions for 2 months. So it's a very intense and very relevant experience, I think. We always try to like make our projects as sustainable and as impactful as possible.
That's something that's really rising now.
Yeah.
With ISEC, with AFD.
But it's like, really important.
It's
like,
super. It's crucial.
I believe social entrepreneurship is the way forward. Like like that's how. Like I believe there's this shift happening of companies that are 100% for profit and this really capitalistically driven society towards a lot more looking like at what societal value are we creating. Like the world I envision, that I strongly believe in, is a world where all our basic needs are met by, for example, this, like, what if we could create farms that are totally self-operated by, self-driving tractors and like these robots that self-repair, and then everything works on solar, and so you can like manage these fields because it's AI by the millimeter, because now farmers are doing it by the hectare, so like you can get an exponentially bigger efficiency, and then you can like make exactly what you need to make for the community around it, and then you can make sure that like it doesn't cost anything. Like the first cost is just the cost of investing in it and making it, and then you have everybody's basic needs of food met, and then you don't need to go work because food will be coming.
But a lot of jobs will be just poof.
Yeah, but no, you'll have a lot more time. For example, if you are so interested in, let's say, astrophysics or whatever, you could just be like, I'm going to study astrophysics for 5 years now just because it interests me so much. And I'm going to spend time with my friends and like do all these things. Or I want to be the best dad I can be for 5 years or 10 years, or 18 years, like the time that my kids grow up. Like we'll have time to be more human. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and that's the shift. Like you don't look at jobs as a job anymore that brings food on the table. You look at, how can I create value for society. And there's a million problems out there to be solved. Like space exploration, dude, we're not even at like half the shit. Like there's so much we can do there.
I mean, we've like analyzed a glass of water of the whole fucking ocean, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, climate change, that's something that we like. If everybody would stop their job tomorrow and start thinking about how we can solve climate change, it would be solved tomorrow. Like, like it's just a different way of looking at the world. Like you don't look at jobs as putting food on the table. You look at how can I create value for society. And then by that, you can still, like, there's probably still going to be ways of, like, the people that are, like, create most value for society are like, compensated or, like, loved in a different way. But I think that's the shift that's happening right now, of a heavier weight towards societal value. Like, what's my impact?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think you're doing a pretty good job with the projects that you've got going right now. And you're only 22, 23?
Yeah, 22.
Yeah, that's sick, man.
Got to start somewhere.
It's absolutely sick. I'm not sure if we've hit everything, but
yeah. Well, I think I gotta go pretty soon.
Okay.
But we can. Like, I think we have 10 more minutes.
Okay, that's cool. That's exactly what I need. Is there anything that you would recommend people read, people listen, a practice, like parting words?
Okay, well, yeah, I might need my 15 minutes for that. Well, recommend, yeah, absolutely. Like, again, like, I think everybody has their own lives in their hands, and just take full responsibility for your life. Like, that mindset has done a lot for me, of like just being like, oh, like, this is happening to me, but like, this is what I can do. Like, these are the things that I have control over and can act upon, and just see them as they are, because that's the thing that we do a lot as well, is just like, we kind of give little twists to our reality where we kind of like, to like make us feel better or whatever. And I guess just it comes down to stay open. Like, I think staying open to life and every single part of it, like the pain as well, like the sadness, like the joy. Like, there's no high mountain without a low valley, in a sense. Like, you can make the valley as short as possible, like not staying there for a long time. But I think sometimes it's a privilege to feel intensely, and that's part of the human experience. And that's like, I feel like so much today is built around trying to avoid certain feelings, or like not stating your truth, or like hating yourself because you don't fit into a certain way of acting, or being, or like not finding necessarily a tribe or stuff like that. Like, that search and that feeling of lostness sometimes, like, that's part of life too. And like, I think learning to embrace those things for what they are and not trying to change them all the time is definitely something that has helped me maintain like a positive attitude, because the attitude, again, you feel it in yourself. Doesn't mean, like, having a positive attitude, like, you can be really depressed and still have a positive attitude. Like, that's the paradox. Now you totally can.
You kind of like
yeah. It's hard though. It's hard. So yeah, no, I think reading, definitely, like, read whatever interests you. Like, if you're interested in self-development, then read self-development shit. Like, there's so many great books out there that help you get structured, or like help you figure out what you want, why you want it. Like, if you look and you shall find is basically true in everything. Like, if you're so that's, I mean, I think I have my personal favorites, but I don't think, like, I think you should find yours. Like, look for your shit, and then if you look for it, it comes. And then that's the thing that those are the things that you want, because you can have like starting points, and I think it's important to have idols and mentors in that sense, but you need to find them yourself. Like, you need to
very
go in
true.
this direction, I think.
Damn.
What else do I want to say to the world?
Stage is yours.
Yeah, I'm thinking. What else? So what was the question? Like things I would recommend? Right?
Yeah, or maybe what you're up to.
Yeah. I think maybe like that learner attitude also is
Stay open.
Very valuable. Yeah. Stay open and think. Take the time to think. That sounds pretty straightforward, but I think if you take the time and like steps back to think about what you want, think about who you are, think about, for example, if you're starting a project, like think it through, like take the time and the energy and the effort to bring awareness to all those parts, because that's what makes us humans so incredibly powerful, is we're able to model the world, and so we're able to uncover problems before they are problems. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying you should live in function of those problems, but I'm just saying that if you bring awareness and consciousness to certain things, like you can really navigate the world in a lot more efficient way, I think. So taking the time to think and staying open, which I guess like comes down to like live fully in your emotion, but also utilize your brain. That's like
damn, man.
Yeah, no. I'll drop my like 27 life lessons.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great.
Interesting. I don't know if that's interesting, but like it's cool.
And then just as a final thing, like where can people, if they would like, find you or send you a message?
Oh yeah, like definitely like the Perspective website.
I'll put it all.
Like website and the Facebook. Like we're trying to build this community a little bit of like people who will have that same idea about like you can really educate yourself today. Like there's a lot of information out there that you can just like take in, and we're trying to like bundle that. We're gonna get better at that soon. Because right now I'm not really taking enough time to really work that out. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like you can go like that on Facebook, and then you can just send me on, I don't know, like Facebook, or like I'll give you my email.
I'll put it all out the information. Yeah.
LinkedIn is also great to connect.
Okay.
Just or Instagram. I don't know.
I'll put it all down below. Damn, man, thank you very much. It's been super real, which I really appreciate. It's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you so much for taking the time, man.
Yeah, no, again, I'm super flattered that you think I'm interesting enough. I think this is so much fun. Like I love talking about this. Yeah.
I enjoy it too, man. It's
really cool, and I think it's really cool that you're doing this.
Thank you.
And I wish I had the same idea.
I mean, you kind of still have the same. I mean, you have like an idea that you're thinking about.
Yeah. But we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Afterwards, maybe that'd be cool if you could help in that. Thanks. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for allowing me to say this shit.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah. No. Great. Thank you.
All right, man. That's it.